So I came across a video twice now. One a couple months back, and then one recently. I did not watch the video, but if you are scrolling through Facebook, you could actually see sort of the preview. So I saw a few seconds of it. However, I've watched a video in Nigeria where politicians were stoning politicians. Politicians were stoning politicians. No, citizens were really trying to hurt politicians by stoning them, basically chasing them away. It's almost like a mob attack. I've seen many videos of that for Nigeria, but this one was for Greece, where from the title, they would stay at the front of the parliament, and then any politician that comes out is going to get dumped into the dumpster. So that's what the video allegedly is reporting. Now, so I thought, I can't even talk because it's so bad. It's so bad because the whole thing is based on a false promise, and so people are just fighting over a false promise that they shouldn't have in the first place. It's like me literally telling you right now, hey, I'm going to take you to Mars. Or I'm going to give you $1 billion. Elect me. Give me your freedom. I'm going to give you all those. If I own $1 billion, you probably should have heard of me among one of the wealthiest people. But I'm sure you have not heard of Adamu Muhammad Dankori in that list. So therefore, I'm absolutely, definitely lying to you. I don't own that kind of money, and maybe I could take you to Mars, but I need to have lots of money to be able to do that. What I'm trying to say is, so these people in Greece were not happy because their politicians let them down. If you know, Greece has been in a lot of political crisis. They've gone bankrupt. They tried to get their bankruptcy forgiven. Their loans, basically their debt. Some of it were, I believe. And their economy tanked. And so citizens were just taking it on the politicians. Greece is highly, highly centralized. They have a really high centralized system of government with some sort of trickle down little government. But like Nigeria, it's highly centralized. And whether or not it's centralized, government is based on false promise. It's gonna fail, whether we like it or not. I mean, if you don't believe me, and I hate to get into the arguments of effect thingy, but check this out. If you are among 10 people and your whole system is built based on compulsory participation, you are bound by the rules of that organization. And the way you get to do things is whoever is the majority. Yes, you are among 10 people, and the way you get things done is by majority vote. And you are compelled by the rules. The rules are binding to you, whether or not you vote, or whether or not you like what you are voting on. That's what countries are. You are in a geographical location where the laws that people put together, well, yeah, let's just say people, whether recently, whether the founders or of recent, people put together, is bound on you. Or you put together, in this example, you are bound to it, whether you like it or not. Now just imagine that. You only get to do this through the numbers. And the way you get to do this, of course, is through stealing. If you don't agree. Let's even... So there's many things wrong with this. One, you can't get out. You can't get out. There's nothing wrong with voting if it is voluntary. Like you could belong to the Red Cross, be a voting member. But if you don't like it, you could exit from Red Cross and their laws won't apply to you. There's nothing wrong with voting. What is wrong is compulsion, lack of choice. For example, in a country, if you don't like the laws of country, if you are born there, if it is your country, you don't have choice. You can't exit your country because that's where you are born. So you are bounded. I mean, you can't exit, meaning, like, that's where you are born. So, for example, it's like me. It's okay. Imagine your house right now. Okay, I'm lining up so many metaphors on top of one another. So imagine, like right now, where you live. Let's say your grandparents made a pact with the previous owners of the house of certain rules, and that any descendant of theirs must obey, whether or not you like it. And the way you get to play with these rules to choose what you need to do with the house is through voting. And you do not have choice. So it's like someone coming to your house and telling you if you don't do something, well, the option is to get out. That doesn't make sense. How about we don't do it? You don't come to my house and force me to do things, and they ask me the only choice is to get out. That doesn't make any sense. That's what some people give, that if you don't like certain country, you can move to another. Well, I will come to your house, make a rule, and if you don't like it, get out. Yeah, I don't think that sounds reasonable, does it? So anyways, so when I come to your house and I force you to do things, I'm stealing from you. I'm literally, right now, if I come to you and say my ancestors made a pact with your ancestors and you have to, this is the constitution of the house, you have to obey it. If not, I throw you in jail, or if you try to resist, I shot you. I'm basically stealing from you and really imprisoning you. That's what I'm doing. There's no governance. It's just a false promise, a facade, a delusion. So basically, these are the kinds of things. So when you have that kind of system, when your system is run based on that false promise, based on stealing, based on robbery, rape, all of that, eventually it's going to fall. It will never last. When people get to share resources by voting, depriving people of choice, that system will go down eventually. It doesn't last. Just like you could imagine, I'll come to your house with a couple of my friends and say, hey, our ancestors did make a compact and you have to obey that compact. Well, guess what you try to do? Well, if we get to calm you down and try to obey these rules, well, the next logical step is to try to get to power, to be in control. Because otherwise, we'll just oppress you. What about if we like to turn off the music at night? What about if we like to eat something different? What about the bed you sleep right now? We have to vote who sleeps on it. We have to vote how much we take away, how much of your money we take away. That is a system based on people stealing from people based on numbers. And that eventually collapses. Absolutely collapses. It's not a sustainable system. The only sustainable system is freedom. You do your things, you protect yourself, I do my things, I protect myself. If I want your thing, well, guess what I would do? I would have to offer you something in return. Or maybe you could willingly give me, but I have to do it with you voluntarily. That is the only sustainable system. If you live in your house, if we live in the same house, you have your own room, I eat what I eat what I like, you eat what you like, that is most likely going to make our stay last longer than if we have to vote on who gets to stay in a place, sit in a place, what to eat. There's going to be fighting all the time. And that's what people are reacting. People, when you see people trying to hurt politicians, which they shouldn't, it's a result of these false promises because the system failed. But they do not know. That is why I'm talking about this. They do not know. They honestly, this is just my opinion, most people truly believe in political system as a good cause. So they revolt, try to fix the system. That is what is most disheartening. People not realizing that a system that is based, the system that is built based on force doesn't last. It fails. And that's why if you are an advocate of freedom, we need to be talking to people, because government, and I'm sorry to be concentrated recently on my podcast about government, because government is one of the symptoms of our society, of the way we are brought up and our environment. We are brought up in a command and control system for majority of the world. So that's what we know. That's how we know to divide things. We don't know how to talk things through, how to negotiate. We like hierarchical stuff, like that. The social cultures made these things and ingrained upon us into our brains. So we don't know any better. So that's why if you're an advocate of freedom, that's what we need to be telling people. Hey, there are other ways to do things other than the majority stealing from the minority, the majority trying to control the minority. There is a better way, which is freedom. Thank you very much for listening, and I will talk to you soon.